Welcome to Electrical Design Management's instruction video for the Process Equipment Schedule module. The first step in making the equipment schedule is to gather a list of all the electrical loads that will be supplied by the power system affected by the equipment. There are generally two types of loads that need to be collected. Process loads. These are the loads that are directly relevant to the facility. In factories and industrial plants, process loads are the motors, heaters, compressors, and conveyors that form the main business of the plant. Process loads can normally be found on either mechanical equipment lists or process and instrumentation diagrams. Their power source originates from a motor control center. Voltages range from 480 to 4,160 volts. Non-process loads. These are auxiliary loads that are necessary to run the facility. For example, lighting, HVAC systems, utility systems, DCS PLC control systems, fire safety systems, and so on. Their power source originates from electrical panel boards. Voltages range from 600 to 120 volts. Non-process loads will be dealt with in another video. On screen is our sample facility. We will look at a simplified oil pumping station and use a single line diagram as our reference showing the equipment we want to add to the schedule. The diagram also shows the different modules offered by EDM and how they relate to each other. This simplified diagram is to demonstrate the ease with which the user can complete the schedule and should not in any way be interpreted as a usable design. Zooming in on the diagram, we see the equipment within the module which we will enter into the equipment schedule. This video will focus on the process equipment and completing the equipment schedule using the EDM program. Now, let's populate the equipment schedule. From our browser, and we're using Google Chrome, and that is the recommended browser to use with EDM, we'll open two new tabs and load the EDM program into each one. Now, we'll split the screen to show the two tabs by clicking and holding the tab and then dragging it to the center edge of the screen. Now we'll do the same with the other tab. From the program's main menu, open the Process Equipment Schedule on the right tab. On the left tab, open the three-phase motor calculator. From the three-phase motor calculator module video, part 1, we produced a motor summary with the selections we made regarding the motor details. Let's quickly go through and create a motor summary. From the three-phase motor calculator tab, and from our single-line diagram, enter the following information: the ID tag, the function tag, the code, the motor type, the motor design, the motor volts, the motor horsepower, the motor RPM, the motor duty cycle, and the motor use factor. We have completed the information the motor module needs to transfer the selected information into the process equipment schedule. From the button selection at the bottom of the motor module, click the Export to Process Equipment Schedule button, and that's all. All the information has been transferred. Now, let's look at the Process Equipment Schedule module. The object of the schedule is to size the MV transformer that is feeding the control center. In our example, the transformer is feeding one of two control centers. Therefore, two separate process equipment schedules must be created. In order to do this, EDM has the ability to save and store your projects and control centers on your own personal drive located on our secured server. This allows you to save and retrieve your projects that you are working on from our secured server and can be accessed at any time. The Process Equipment Schedule module keeps track of the equipment assigned to that control center. It takes the information and calculates the different load scenarios to determine the control center bus size and the MV transformer size. From the calculated power, it determined the consumable power by separating the different functions of the equipment. For example, a motor can be either continuous, intermittent, or standby depending on their duty assignment, whereas heaters are considered continuous loads. EDM takes this into consideration when calculating the control center total active loads. EDM separates these into the duty categories and does a summation of each category to calculate the total consumable or active load. The summary is based on industry standards that apply to the sizing of electrical equipment. Neither the electric codes or any electrical associations specify regulations concerning the sizing of this equipment. It's really dependent on the individual client recommendations. Once the loads have been determined, they are transferred onto the associated modules to continue the design. Our next video will highlight the transformer calculators and show how equipment process schedule information is used in the designing of the associated transformers. We'll see you there.